After using the excavator several days ago down here, this is all mostly clay here. Really, you could throw a bucket of water on the ground and an impression in the dirt, in the clay soil here, and at the end of the day the water would still be standing in the soil. Anyway, after using the excavator, it was still a little rough, so I had to use just a regular shovel, hand shovel, and go around and smooth out the ruts and smooth out the high spots, filling in low spots. Have a pair of loppers for roots that would be sticking out of the ground. Cut them off. So I got it. It's a snowmobile trail, and it's an extension of my back lawn. But my plan is to be able to mow this with a mower, the riding mower. And if I have it on the highest setting now, 4.5 inches, I can easily mow this without hitting anything, any rocks or little high spots. But over several years, it'll automatically kind of fill itself in and level itself out more, so that eventually I will be able to mow it on a lower setting. My goal was to just be able to have at least tall grass for now. So I planted a conservation mix, Vermont conservation mix, all around here. Incidentally, this is about a 30-inch diameter, 34-inch diameter stump from a tree that I had dropped straight that way. There's some wafers from the trunk that I was cutting up in an earlier video, which I'll put an attachment on here. When I first got the 36-inch chainsaw bar, this is the first tree I cut that was one of the largest softwoods that I have. My woods were all before like that. Trees down, blowdowns, a lot of blowdowns in this pile here. And I made piles of brush and tree limbs and tree trunks, like you see there are the wafers. You see some sections of the large tree from here, right there, that I was able to roll over to the side in one of those piles. And there's little paths I have all over. Some of them a neighbor was kind enough to make them. He likes to snowshoe here, so I left his paths alone. There's where one large tree went right across one of his paths, so I kept it so that his path is still intact. But I call these islands. These are islands. Here's an island here. And when you look at this island, then you go on my friend, my neighbor's path, snowshoe path that he has. Here's his path goes down with this island that I made, which started out very small at first. It was just a small pile of brush, and now we're standing down here in this, there's a lot of valleys, gullies and valleys, and in my woods. I'm at the lowest part, and that's about 15 feet over my head here. That's about 15 feet from where I'm standing here in this valley, this little ravine. And it's just comprised of logs from tree stumps, from tree trunks and stumps, and There's some of them. A lot of brush, a lot of branches. The path comes along here. You can go that way, you can go up that way. I have a previous video showing this right after I was down in here. You can go up that way. So this is one of the islands. And I'm just going to let the islands be natural habitat for small critters or whatever. In some of the ravines, there's a large ravine right over here, about 25, 30 yards away, where I just dropped all the trees that I wanted to drop that are softwoods into the ravine. This ravine was quite deep, and now it's just pretty much leveled off with trees, tree stumps, fallen trees, branches, tree crowns. A lot of good hollow places. You can go underneath some of this, and there's hollow places like 5 feet in diameter. Like you could pitch a tent, small tent in some of these areas. So I'm trying to eliminate all the softwoods and start a hardwood woods here. There's already a lot of hardwood trees growing. There's some good sized ones. All the trees you see that are standing, that haven't been cleared, are all hardwood trees. Some of them were leaning quite a bit, and I roped them. Some of them were like, almost laying on the ground. That one was leaning out so much I roped it and I tied it up. Still leaning some, but I'm training it to, I'm gonna eventually straighten it. There's a maple tree. So I've got this all smoothed to the point where I'm happy. The grass can start growing. I can come down here with my mower and mow all this on the highest setting without hitting any ground or rocks or anything. You can see that there's still some small roots sticking out, but the mower will take care of those. Anything larger than about a 1/2 inch in diameter or so, 5/8 inch in diameter, roots outcropping, sticking out of the ground, I've cut off with the loppers. But any smaller roots, you see are going to be chopped off by the mower first cutting. So I accomplished all this yesterday. What you see is straw on top of the seed that I spread. Yesterday was a very productive day. I had to run to the store to get more straw, but I put about 9 hours into this yesterday. This is the narrowest part of the trail right here. There was a stump here I couldn't really remove. And there was another stump here. It's pretty much flush with the ground. I can ride my snowmobile through here easily. That's the distance between these two stumps here. The edge of that one and this one. The distance right there between those is about 5 feet. So my snowmobile would easily come down through here. It's a little bit rolling. The landscape here. Not totally flat. Right now, this morning, I'm working on this area. There were high spots, low spots. Where you see fresh dirt, it was dug up from high spots and thrown into low spots. I'll level it as much as I can, then I'll rake it. I've already cut the roots off here. Here's a good illustration of where it's about 10 inches high. It's hard to see in a video, but the ground is uneven by about 10 inches. If I were to try to seed that right there and mow it, I'd be hitting small rocks and dirt, throwing dirt. So I'm leveling this out enough so that I can still mow it on the highest setting. I'm going to do this area here. And I'm going to work my way down through here, which is going to be fairly simple. This is pretty where I excavated and where it's the smoothest with the excavator without a lot of ruts was because it was really dry. But where it was a little bit wet when I excavated several days ago, like over here, you see a lot of ruts. The trail extends down there. This trail extends down there. Those ruts you see, that particular rut where there's a tread track, and the right beyond that, it's about a 14-inch difference in height. I mean, it needs a lot of moving, a lot of dirt, a lot of ground. I may get an excavator in here when this is drier to level that out. If I feel real ambitious, I might do some of it by shovel. But you can see the unevenness here. So I'm smoothing it out as much as possible, making it so I can mow it on the highest setting on the mower, seeding it, and want to get the grass growing for erosion control once I've established my grade in all the areas here. There's one of the trees that's the one I showed you before that was leaning the other way. It's leaning two different ways. Trying to train it. Most of the small trees you see here that are tall are hardwoods. There's a maple. There's another maple. I believe that's a maple. And there's seedlings all over the place coming up. Hardwood seedlings everywhere. It's unbelievable. So that's what's keeping me busy. There's a tree that's got a rope on it that I had to throw up high. I believe that's another maple. So I'm happy with the way it's turning out. At the guest house, 459. Have a nice weekend.